Hey guys, it's Jackie. Welcome back to my channel. So as some of you may know, I just graduated from college this past May, and I've made a few different college advice videos in my day, but I really wanted to make one kind of encompassing like all 4 years of my experience. I just thought it would be fun to make a video kind of passing along my wisdom, if you will, of what I've learned throughout my time at college, pass it on to the younger generation. So I put together my top 10 things that I feel like are very important to know before entering college. These are the things that I think I didn't realize I would need to know, or things that I didn't know before starting college, that if I had known these things, it would have made college a little bit easier. But before we get started, I wanted to say thank you to LINKSTORY for sponsoring this video. So for those of you who don't know, LINKSTORY is an awesome online platform that helps students, especially high school students, get insights on college and college admissions through video lessons and mentoring with current undergrads and alumni like myself, as well as trained and experienced advisors and college counselors. So to break it down for you guys, the LINKSTORY Plus membership is only $12 a year, literally $1 a month. And with this service, you get video lessons from current undergrads and also recent alumni. And it also includes access to essays by students accepted to top universities. Basically, it's just an amazing resource for high school students to like get an understanding of what students who were actually accepted looked like in their applications. The second service that LINKSTORY offers, which is my personal favorite, is mentoring. So with this service, high school students have the opportunity to connect with current undergraduates at different schools, as well as recent alumni like myself, and you can get mentorship, you can ask personalized questions. So for example, in addition to tutoring, I offer a course on strategizing your high school extracurriculars for college admissions, and then another course explaining what the human and organizational development major at Vanderbilt is, which is what I majored in at Vanderbilt. There are also tons of other mentors and courses that are being offered on LINKSTORY, so if those don't sound exciting to you, there are so many different options. But yeah, so if you sign up for any of my mentoring sessions and let me know that you watched this video, you will get 20% off. I'm super excited to be working with LINKSTORY. I think they're making college and college admissions much more accessible to everyone, giving people the opportunity to learn more about the admissions process and get advice from current undergrads and alumni. And I'm so excited to connect with you guys. So if you like my college advice in this video or want any more personalized advice, make sure to check out LINKSTORY and set up a meeting with me. All right, so with that being said, let's get into my top 10 college advice. My first piece of advice has to do with time management and organization. I know that sounds very boring, but it's seriously so important. When you're on your own for the first time in college, I think that like it just can get so overwhelming with the pile up of social life and classes and extracurriculars and feeding yourself. Like there are just so many factors that you've never had to deal with before in your life that suddenly in college are all your responsibility to like keep track of. So specifically, I would recommend like time blocking and really organizing your schedule. I have another video on this that I will link here, so that kind of breaks it down more specifically. But if you don't want to do that, then all I recommend is to just get a physical planner where you keep track of like your assignments and your commitments, your meetings for different clubs. And I know that getting a physical planner might seem kind of old school, and like a lot of people don't like having one of those anymore, but I do think it's really beneficial because when you have everything on your computer, sometimes things get lost and it gets confusing. Trust me, things get so messy and overwhelming, especially in like your first semester of school. So work on time management and buy a physical planner because it gets more overwhelming than you think. And I think a lot of people kind of just get like, they get lost in it all. Like it just becomes too overwhelming to the point where like you fall behind in your classes, or you just feel like you don't even have time for yourself, for your social life. So get your time management skills in check. Okay, my second piece of advice is to prioritize trying things that you've never tried before, whether this is joining an improv club or joining a club sports team or going out more on the weekends, even if that wasn't your thing in high school, or taking a pottery class or anything like that. I think I did this to an extent in college, but sometimes wish that I did it more, because once you graduate college, you realize that college really was the time to do this, like to try new things, to do random shit that you wouldn't otherwise do, like taking a pottery class. Like, now is the time to do it. So you don't need a reason to join a musical if you've never done theater before, or to take a random arts class, or, you know, a photography class, or a new language, or anything like that. Like, you have the time for it in college. This is the time to do it. So prioritize trying new things. Maybe even make a list of like 3 things that sound like they could be fun that you've never tried before, and try to do one of those your freshman year. Okay, next thing is about making friends. Probably one of the scariest parts about going to college is the idea of like finding a friend group, finding your people, meeting people in general. So first of all, the easiest time to make friends is literally in the first week, if not the first few days of college. This is when everyone is most open to making friends, because everyone's trying to make friends and like find their people, find their friend group. So do not be afraid to just go up to random people, introduce yourself. Like, if you're standing next to someone in a line at orientation, turn around and be like, hi, like, I'm Jackie, what's your name? Like, where are you from? I know that normally that's not what people do, so it feels really weird to do that, but I'm telling you that the people who do that are the people who make the most friends in their first week of college. And then it's a lot easier to like find your people and find your friend group. And if you don't feel like you're the type of person who's able to do that, then pretend that you are and fake it till you make it. And I promise you, it will not be as hard as you think, because people are gonna be really receptive and also want to be your friend. I think, like, especially in my later years of college, I realized how nice it would have been to just like have known as many people as I could. Like, most of these people in college you're never gonna see again, so why not just like meet them, know their name, get to know them, and if you click with someone, then that's amazing, and if you don't, then who cares? And then after this first kind of week of school, the easiest way to meet friends is through like clubs and organizations, because you have shared interests with these people. So like I was saying in the last piece of advice, join some random club, or join a club that you actually already enjoy and care about. Okay, my next piece of advice is do not put too much pressure on yourself with your grades. Grades in college truly do not matter as much as grades in high school did, unless you're trying to be a doctor or a lawyer or go and get your PhD somewhere. You just need to kind of get above a certain threshold of a GPA or your grades, and then beyond that, it really doesn't matter that much. And I say this as someone who graduated with a 3.99 GPA. It doesn't matter. Like, no, I don't regret getting good grades during college, obviously, but like, I think there were times when I was really stressed about it, or perhaps I prioritized homework over other things that, in hindsight, that class or that test or that assignment really just did not matter that much. So at the end of the day, the 2 most important things are, 1, from like a job standpoint, who you are as a person, what you're involved in, what your experience is. That's what jobs are looking for. They're not looking at every grade that you've gotten. They're not looking to make sure that you have a perfect GPA. So focus more on getting work experience, getting internship experience, doing extracurriculars or community service that build up who you are as a person. Secondly, mental health, making memories, feeling like you're a human being and not just a student. I mean, ask yourself for any given assignment whether or not you're gonna remember this assignment or the grade you got on it 10 years from now, and the answer is probably no. Every single time. So, versus a certain experience like doing something with your friends on the weekend, or getting involved in a play or a sports team that might make it a little harder to get an A in class, but you know you'll remember this forever and you'll make amazing friends. Like, those are more important experiences in college. If you're trying to go to grad school, grades are a different story. I would still say don't prioritize them over everything else. Your experience and your mental health is always more important, but grades are important for that. Anyways, next piece of advice is to get a job and as much real-world experience as you can while you're in college. So first of all, I would recommend, if you can, getting a work-study job. This is something that I did my freshman and sophomore year at Vanderbilt, and this was truly one of the best things I could have done in my first couple years for so many reasons. 1, I was able to save up money and have my own kind of like fun money and income, which just makes a huge difference. Also started saving up money for post-grad, which I know that seems kind of extreme to start doing that like your sophomore year, but once you graduate, you're gonna want that and you're gonna need it. The earlier you start saving up, even if it's a tiny bit, definitely a good idea. 2, when I was applying for internships the summer after my freshman year, which a lot of people don't do, but the people who do apply find it hard oftentimes to get an internship because you're just going against against older students who have more experience. But if you were able to get a job at your school, that really sets you apart because it shows that you've had responsibility before, you have work ethic, you have experience in a certain area, even if it's just customer service. And then also, honestly, my job oftentimes just kind of felt like an extracurricular. Like, I made friends with my coworkers who were also work-study students. I felt like I got to know my school better because I was working at the events office. So even if you don't feel like you need to get a job, I would recommend getting a job. You can work 6 hours a week at a work-study job. At least I did for a couple of semesters. So it doesn't need to be a huge commitment. And it was one of my favorite experiences, I would say, for the first couple years of college. So now getting into, I think these are like more specific pieces of advice that I found really important in terms of your career. So obviously college is kind of a stepping stone from like being a high school student, being a kid, to being a real adult, which now I guess I am. So at some point, you're gonna be thinking a lot about your career and what you want to do with your life, because that determines what you study, what you're involved in, what you're applying for with internships and everything. My piece of advice is do not pigeonhole yourself into a career just because it's what other people around you are doing, or it feels like it's what's easiest, or it's what you thought you wanted to do coming into college. It doesn't mean it's what you should do. If there is something that you want to do, or something that you're interested in, or something that in your first couple years of college you develop an interest in, and it's not what everyone else is doing, or it doesn't seem like it's the easy path, you should still go for it. And it's so much easier to kind of orient yourself to whatever career you want while you're in college than to switch careers later on. Under the category of careers, my next piece of advice is to use your status as a student to get help and advice from adults. There's so many different organizations that literally give students free membership just for being students, or people who are willing to talk to students just because they're college students, especially if they're alumni of the school that you go to. For example, when I was a sophomore, I was able to go and interview a top agent at WME, which is a huge agency, just because they were an alumni of Vanderbilt and lived in Nashville. That's something that I never thought I'd be able to do as a sophomore in college. But if you put it under the umbrella of like learning, you can pretty much talk to anyone that you want to talk to and learn from them, because people want to help college students and they want to mentor the next generation. And especially if you show passion and initiative, like, adults love that shit. So take advantage of that. Okay, next, I advise you all to explore and experience your college town. So even if there's not much there, I think just experiencing the town that you're in outside of your college campus can help you feel more like a person and not just a student. But you never know what opportunities are there, the people that are there that you can get to know. So take this opportunity while you're living in this city, even if you don't want to live there after college, to experience it, to learn about what you like about it, what you don't like about it when you're considering where you want to live after college. Like, I went to school in Nashville, and I think I didn't realize how beneficial it was for me to experience that city before graduating, because even though I didn't want to live in Nashville after I graduated, like, experiencing that city made me aware of my needs and what I want in a city. All right, we're almost done. These last two are the most important to me, closest to my heart. Sometimes in college, because you're in kind of this like enclosed environment, it can feel like everyone around you is getting closer, or like has more of a community than you, or you're isolated, or you don't have enough friends, or you're not in the right group, or you're not in the right major, or you're not in the right clubs, whatever. You feel lost and alone sometimes. And I think that that's inevitable. If or when you do have that feeling in college, you are 1000% not the only one who feels that way. You are not alone. This feeling will fade. Everything will work out. An example of a time that I felt this way was after I joined Greek life. I have a video about why I dropped my sorority at Vanderbilt, which I will link here in case you guys want to hear more about my opinions about it. But basically during this time, I just felt like even though I was newly a part of this community of a sorority and of Greek life, I was more isolated and alone than ever, and I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I wasn't accepted. I had made the wrong choice or had failed myself in some way, and it was just like, it was a really hard time. And that feeling lasted for a while, and I didn't drop my sorority until the end of my sophomore year. And you know, it ebbs and flows, like it got better and then it got worse and whatever. But my point is, at the end of the day, I look back on this time as a time where I got closer with the friends who were true, and I learned a lot about myself, and I kind of honed in on the values that are important to me. Basically, I look back on this time not as a negative time, but as a positive time because it encouraged so much growth. Just try to have that big picture. View yourself as the main character in a movie, and this is kind of the big development stage, you know, that everybody has to go through in order to become who they're meant to be. If you have that feeling, know that you're not alone. Literally reach out to me, like DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is Jackie Rhodes. I'm there for you. So many people are there for you. Just know that that will pass. And then my last piece of advice is just be so grateful for where you're at and the fact that you're at college at all. Remind yourself what a privilege it is to be attending college and to be having this experience and to be having the opportunities that you're having. Take note of all the things that you're grateful for about your experience, whether it's like the fact that you're really looking forward to the weekends, or the fact that you have fun hanging out with your roommate at night, or the fact that you really like the food at this one dining hall and you can't wait to eat lunch there today, or whatever it is. Like, these little things are real and they're worthy of gratitude, and they're worthy of you focusing on them and reminding yourself how lucky you are to be there, because you guys, it really flies by and I miss it so much. This is a unique time in your life where you're almost in like a 4-year-long summer camp. Like, as much pressure as it may feel in the moment, this is the time when the pressure's off. Like, you can explore and do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about food, about finding your apartment, about making sure that you have a job. Like, just be there, go to class, soak it in, be grateful. And if you're not feeling grateful, then make a list of the things that you're grateful for, even if it's like the little things that I was listing before, because that's something that I started doing, I think, like the later half of my junior year of college. I started really noting the things I was grateful for about my college experience, and I'm so glad that I did that in the moment because it really allowed me to soak it in and appreciate what I had. And college is amazing. It's an amazing time, like I've been saying, and I know you guys will all love it and will learn so much about yourselves and will have an incredible time growing and changing and learning and finding who you are. That's my advice. That's my college advice as a graduate, and I hope you guys found it helpful. Again, if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to message me on Instagram or sign up for my LINKSTORY mentorship. I would truly, truly, truly love to meet with you guys and talk to you more about whatever college advice you need. Obviously, I think LINKSTORY is an awesome platform to get information, so thank you again to LINKSTORY for sponsoring this video and for being such an awesome company. And that's it, guys. Anyways, I start work next week, so that's kind of crazy. Eventually, in the next month or so, I'm gonna be filming an apartment tour and kind of like an LA move-in vlog, so I can't wait to share that with you guys once that's done. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you all, and I will see you next time.